Hi, my name is Alana Heim of Prosperity Alignment, and I have a really important message that I just felt called and compelled even to share with you today. So I'm going to play this clip. This is about 5 minutes. It is from Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich audiobook, and this is from his original version. So if you have the version that has been watered down and has been changed to include references that are more of our current time, I want you to listen to his words. This coming from the 1930s, this coming from a man who lived not only through the Great Depression and the great pandemic that we've heard about, in understanding what was going on in the mindset, what was going on with the aspect of fear, and the things that we are told, just how impressionable we are. Our minds can take this information on. So I am just going to go ahead and pause myself and turn off my video so you can just listen to these words and take from it what you will.
The fear of ill health. This fear may be traced to both physical and social heredity. It is closely associated, as to its origin, with the causes of fear of old age and the fear of death, because it leads one closely to the border of terrible worlds, of which man knows not, but concerning which he has been taught some discomforting stories. The opinion is somewhat general also, that certain unethical people engaged in the business of selling health have not had a little to do with keeping alive the fear of ill health. In the main, man fears ill health because of the terrible pictures which have been planted in his mind of what may happen if death should overtake him. He also fears it because of the economic toll which it may claim. A reputable physician estimated that 75% of all people who visit physicians for professional service are suffering with hypochondria, imaginary illness. It has been shown most convincingly that the fear of disease, even where there is not the slightest cause for fear, often produces the physical symptoms of the disease feared. Powerful and mighty is the human mind. It builds or it destroys. Playing upon this common weakness of fear of ill health, dispensers of patent medicines have reaped fortunes. This form of imposition upon credulous humanity became so prevalent some 20 years ago that Collier's Weekly magazine conducted a bitter campaign against some of the worst offenders in the patent medicine business. During the flu epidemic, which broke out during the World War, the mayor of New York City took drastic steps to check the damage which people were doing themselves through their inherent fear of ill health. He called in the newspapermen and said to them, "Gentlemen, I feel it necessary to ask you not to publish any scare headlines concerning the flu epidemic. Unless you cooperate with me, we will have a situation which we cannot control." The newspapers quit publishing stories about the flu, and within 1 month, the epidemic had been successfully checked. Through a series of experiments conducted some years ago, it was proved that people may be made ill by suggestion. We conducted this experiment by causing 3 acquaintances to visit the victims, each of whom asked the question, "What ails you? You look terribly ill." The first questioner usually provoked a grin and a nonchalant, "Oh, nothing, I'm all right," from the victim. The second questioner usually was answered with the statement, "I don't know exactly, but I do feel badly." The third questioner was usually met with a frank admission that the victim was actually feeling ill. Try this on an acquaintance if you doubt that it will make him uncomfortable, but do not carry the experiment too far. There is a certain religious sect whose members take vengeance upon their enemies by the hexing method. They call it placing a spell on the victim. There is overwhelming evidence that disease sometimes begins in the form of negative thought impulse. Such an impulse may be passed from one mind to another by suggestion, or created by an individual in his own mind. A man who was blessed with more wisdom than this incident might indicate once said, "When anyone asks me how I feel, I always want to answer by knocking him down." Doctors send patients into new climates for their health because a change of mental attitude is necessary. The seed of fear of ill health lives in every human mind. Worry, fear, discouragement, disappointment in love and business affairs cause the seed to germinate and grow. The recent business depression kept the doctors on the run because every form of negative thinking may cause ill health. Disappointments in business and in love stand at the head of the list of causes of fear of ill health. A young man suffered a disappointment in love which sent him to a hospital. For months he hovered between life and death. A specialist in suggestive therapeutics was called in. The specialist changed nurses, placing him in charge of a very charming young woman who began, by prearrangement with the doctor, to make love to him the first day of her arrival on the job. Within 3 weeks, the patient was discharged from the hospital, still suffering, but with an entirely different malady. He was in love again. The remedy was a hoax, but the patient and the nurse were later married. Both are in good health at the time of this writing. Symptoms of the fear of ill health. The symptoms of this almost universal fear are autosuggestion, the habit of negative use of self-suggestion by looking for and expecting to find the symptoms of all kinds of disease, enjoying imaginary illness and speaking of it as being real, the habit of trying all fads and isms recommended by others as having therapeutic value, talking to others of operations, accidents, and other forms of illness, experimenting with diets, physical exercises, reducing systems without professional guidance, trying home remedies, patent medicines, and quack remedies. Hypochondria, the habit of talking of illness, concentrating the mind upon disease, and expecting its appearance until a nervous break occurs. Nothing that comes in bottles can cure this condition. It is brought on by negative thinking, and nothing but positive thought can effect a cure. Hypochondria, a medical term for imaginary disease, is said to do as much damage on occasion as the disease one fears might do. Most so-called cases of nerves come from imaginary illness. Exercise. Fear of ill health often interferes with proper physical exercise and results in overweight by causing one to avoid outdoor life. Susceptibility. Fear of ill health breaks down nature's body resistance and creates a favorable condition for any form of disease one may contact. The fear of ill health often is related to the fear of poverty, especially in the case of the hypochondriac, who constantly worries about the possibility of having to pay doctor's bills, hospital bills, etc. This type of person spends much time preparing for sickness, talking about death, saving money for cemetery lots and burial expenses, etc. Self-coddling. The habit of making a bid for sympathy, using imaginary illness as the lure. People often resort to this trick to avoid work. The habit of feigning illness to cover plain laziness, or to serve as an alibi for lack of ambition. Intemperance. The habit of using alcohol or narcotics to destroy pain such as headaches, neuralgia, etc., instead of eliminating the cause. The habit of reading about illness and worrying over the possibility of being stricken by it. The habit of reading patent medicine advertisements.
That was just a quick excerpt from Think and Grow Rich. Some brilliance that really came through, and this is the part that is not in the current editions of the Think and Grow Rich book. The part about the pandemic, the flu that was going on, and what the mayor did. He knew the power of the word, and when it is put out into kind of the broadcasting ability of a newspaper to put it out in a way that we humans pick it up, because that's what our brain is capable of. He knew the power of what could happen if fear was brought into it. So I'm just bringing this to light because it's very powerful to know that something so important that was done back at that time in 1918, where the mayor already knew how powerful fear could be used to manipulate and cause more people to actually fall ill. And he pulled that. He made sure that the newspapers were not publishing that. This is very, very important. So I want you to just recognize the power that our media has, and the fact that where we are today in a very similar situation has been amplified because of our media. I have this listed here for you to know that you are healthy, whole, perfect, prosperous, and complete, because your health is your wealth. And there are infinite possibilities out there. And usually what stops us is our mindset and whatever manipulative energies may be around. So he went into some other examples of this fear of health and well-being and fear of illness, and talked about even the example of the man who was dying and literally fell in love with the nurse. And that was part of an experiment that actually turned into true love, and they got married. But there's so much in the way of understanding the power for you to be healthy and whole, perfect, prosperous, and complete is already within you. And when you pull that from source, source being infinite love, divine love coming from God, spirit, whatever it is that you see as this higher power, this higher energy that is within you to pull from. It is there for you infinitely, and it allows for you to be able to create infinitely. That's not where we're pulling from source being a source of media or a representation of what we think is going on in the world. So I just want you to recognize that there have been tactics of control, manipulation, power, greed, shame, blame, guilt, rejection, all kinds of really negative lower vibrations, which Napoleon talked about as even being hexed. And there's an aspect of humanity awakening, and there are people who don't want this to happen. And sometimes what I see is the more that they try to undo our awakening, the more we awaken. The more that you begin to recognize just how powerful you are and how powerful we are together. You are so courageous. And there is such a prosperity that is here for you to grab, for you to hold, for you to emanate and be. And I want you to recognize that power, that gift. And there is an aspect of starting to wonder and have fear come in and think that we're going to die, that we're going to get sick, and we're going to get the virus, we're going to get this from strangers and people who are out to get us and harm us. And I want to just allow you to truly feel from within, connecting all of your chakras in that physical lower three, where you are embodying all of your physicality and your emotional and mental bodies, and you are allowing all of that energy to connect to your heart center, to this aspect of knowing that you are here to be loved and to love, to be able to connect that as the bridge to your higher spiritual self, the part of you that is so divinely guided and filled with the divine love and is connected to source in such an infinite way that it doesn't matter whatever is being spewed fearfully, because that is not who we are and where we come from. You are infinitely sourced, resourced, and resourceful. So right now, if you need support, because all of the energies that are swirling around are already impacting you, influencing you, and having you feel like everything I'm telling you is not true, then please connect with me. I have different options and opportunities to support you. Courage to Thrive Sun Activation Program is a program that starts on September 26th and continues for 8 weeks. 8 weeks where we are going to travel with the sun, going through the splenic gates, where you are going to potentially feel fear and learn how to transmute that into more courage, where you are deeply supported. I am here as your guide, as the projector, to help you be who you are, to know who that is, and to take action towards moving into prosperity for yourself, for your family, for the community, for the world. We have big changes going on right now. And more than ever, I want you to know that you are deeply supported. So if your lower chakra is not feeling safe and is worrying and in the fear about surviving all of what's to come and not knowing what that looks like, this is a great program. If you need more of the intensive coaching where you get to work with me every week for those 8 weeks, sometimes twice in 90-minute calls, there is an option where I have 9 spots left. You can be one of those people who get in-depth coaching through human design, through understanding and aligning your chakras, because I'm bringing in some of my Atlantean energy and powers, if you will, that I am recalling and remembering and bringing to this planet, you already, when you join the program, are going to get one of those 60-minute sessions to help figure out where you might be blocked within your 7 chakras and getting those to fully open so that you are receiving all of infinite source energy, all of these powers and possibilities for you to create more value in the world come into fruition. We have so much to kind of go through in the program. It's 8 weeks of traveling with the 7 energies of fear, which I call courage, and looking at this level of who are you and who do you want to share out in the world in a way that you haven't before, in a way that is so needed, because all of this wholeness within you, this completeness, is finally coming together. So there are healing techniques you receive. There are videos to help you understand what is actually going on in the world. And we're going through election season. We are going to be in the heart of fall and headed towards winter. And really, it's a matter of, we don't necessarily know what's going to come about, except we have an idea of the old powers that be that are going to want to hold us to the old ways. And they're going to do everything to claw and hold us to that fear. And I want you to become so grounded and centered and aligned with who you are that you see through it, that you just recognize whatever's going on in the world, that is not the reality you create. And that really all of the infinite possibilities and the reality you're here to create starts from within you. And it ripples out into the quantum field to reach every human, to impact Mother Earth, and to allow for each of us to truly raise our vibration, which means then we truly transform our lives. So you are invited to join me in Courage to Thrive. The live intensive coaching is my favorite. I love to give insight and to go deeper into your human design chart, deeper into the variables in your chart, deeper into understanding what are you feeling and experiencing it as you experience it. If you want some coaching, but not as intense, going once or twice a week, if that doesn't work for you, that's okay. There is a group program as well where we meet 3 times during that 8 weeks. I would love to be your guide and to support you. I would also love to hear what you think of the words from Napoleon Hill and what he brought through, and how some of his words have been manipulated through additions and editing and revisions of his book, and to be able to truly hear just how much fear can be controlling. When you start to see that, you're going to discern what is going on in the world. What feels true to you? What do you believe? Where are you aligning in such a powerful way that that is not controlling who you are? You are controlling who you are. I am so grateful for you. I want you to remember that you are healthy, whole, perfect, prosperous, and complete. That is who you've always been. You can go to prosperityalignment.com/thrive now, and you'll be able to access either program. Thrive Now Live is how you get to the intensive coaching program. I would love to see you there, to be able to support you. And who knows what's going to happen, but for you to know that you have this personal connection and love and support that is truly coming from the source point, because that's where we are, that everything is evolving, that everything is changing, and that I am truly excited for it, and that I get to help bring that energy to you so that you're also excited, that you are creating whatever it is that you want, and you're achieving the desired results that you want. So please connect. I hope you have an amazing day. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for being here, and I will talk to you soon.